What if the debt bubble finally bursts? Why are homes becoming unreachable for normal people? Why does everything feel more expensive even when salaries go up? And have you noticed that the world seems to survive on debt now? Because the financial system changed completely, and most people have no idea when it happened. To understand this, we need to go back to 1971. Back then, money was tied to something real, gold. Governments couldn't just create unlimited currency out of nowhere. But then President Richard Nixon ended the dollar's connection to gold, and that decision quietly changed the world forever. Suddenly, central banks had much more freedom to print money, manipulate interest rates, and influence the economy. At first, everything looked fine, but then came the early 2000s. Interest rates stayed low for too long. Borrowing became companies borrowed, governments borrowed, and guess what happened? Housing prices exploded, debt exploded, speculation exploded. The system looked strong, but underneath it was becoming dangerously fragile. Then came 2008. Lehman Brothers collapsed and panic spread through the global financial system. Now, pay attention here because this is where everything changed. Central banks stepped in and started creating massive amounts of money digitally. Not millions, not billions, trillions. This policy became known as quantitative easing. Sounds technical, but here's what it really meant. Central banks started supporting markets directly. Do you even realize what that means? Markets were no longer fully driven by natural supply and demand. Investors began believing that central banks would always step in and save the system. And things became so government bonds that guaranteed a loss. Imagine lending money and being promised less money back later. Sounds insane, right? Yet it happened. And no country pushed this experiment further than Japan. The Bank of Japan didn't just buy government debt. It bought stock ETFs, real estate funds, financial assets on a massive scale. Think about that for a second. A central bank becoming one of the biggest owners of financial assets in the country. And this is why all of this matters to you. Cheap money may feel good at first. It boosts markets, raises asset prices, makes borrowing easy. But over time, it also creates bigger bubbles, more debt, weaker purchasing power, and an economy that becomes addicted to low interest rates. The scary part, the entire system now depends on constant support. So the real question is not whether the system has problems. Support ever stops. Need more information?
Visit our website, www.vestinvesting.com.